lights are out, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Just go.
It is round number 6 here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association. After a fantastic race at Worldwide Tech Raceway last week, we are back here on a mile and a half getting set to go to action once again. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. I am joined alongside, as always, by Tony Trapasso. And Tony, another great race set for this racetrack here tonight. Such close racing here in these trucks. Every single time we come here, it's going to be very, very little different tonight.
Place your bets, folks. Round and round they go. Where they stop, who knows?
Absolutely, and tonight it's going to be a lot of close, fast-paced action. The inside is going to be where you want to be. However, you don't want to run those tires off too early. This series is known for long runs. You are going to need those tires to last a full fuel stint.
Well, this series is known for long runs, and this track is known to be a fuel mileage race. Just about every time we've come here to broadcast an event, it's turned into a fuel mileage race. So that's something these guys are going to have to be mindful of all night long. Not to mention that they've only got 4 total sets of tires to do 134 laps at a track that it's very easy to punish the right side tires for. So they've got the set of tires that they start qualifying on, which is the set of tires they have to start the race on. Then they've got three extra sets of tires that they can change onto throughout the night. So they're going to have to manage that along with, when they've got to come in to get that fresh tank of Sunoco racing fuel. Vegas is a wide open track as far as it's going to take a lot of strategy to be successful here tonight.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And here in just a moment, we'll take a look at the point standings as we are just a couple of seconds away from this session coming to a close. Johnny Rapp, who was not a part of the race last week, is here tonight and is currently sitting atop the points, the standings pylon, pardon me, for overall time in practice, and that is where he will finish. Evan Pienta second, Eric Holly third, Luke LaFaro fourth, and the man you're seeing on screen right now, Scott Tompkins, in the 25, rounding out the top 5. As we go into this qualifying session here, let's take a look at the point standings for tonight, going into tonight's event. With the win, Jordan Smith taking over the points championship lead by 4 points over Evan Pienta and Randy Bechtel, who now sit in a tie for that second position. Chase Barry, after finishing third last week, the only other driver in the 300-point bracket. That will definitely change here tonight, but a close race as 1 through 4 separated by just 8 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Real tight points battle. Still early in the season, but every point counts right now as qualifying underway, and something I wasn't expecting. We are under the lights here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and this track completely changes the way that it runs when you're under the lights. And very, very cool night for the Las Vegas Metroplex. 67-degree ambient air temperature, 69-degree track temperature, with a 9-mile-an-hour wind gusting up to 11 going down the back straightaway. So these guys are facing a headwind going into turn 3.
As Dale Elan Jr. crosses the line, sets the first time at a 30.97. Chandler Summers not that far behind him in the number 15. Summers crossing the line, and he will jump up into the second position, only a 31.35. Larry Poling with a 31.21 jumps up into the second position, pardon me, as we take a look at Stephen Holmes, who's trying to finish his first lap, taking that outside line, trying to build up as much momentum as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're giving him 2 flyers, and with this truck being or having the aero package that it has and the tire package that it has, you really need to treat this mile and a half like it's a super speedway so you can get the most out of your what's going to be your one flyer. As Tommy Cannon jumps up to the top of the pylon with a 30.865 on his nice lap for Randy Bechtel.
Yep, that was Bechtel's second lap there to 30.73. Purple at both ends of the racetrack. Stephen Holmes jumps up into the third position, with Jordan Smith in the fourth position. We saw him hit the apron there in the middle of 3 and 4, hampering his qualifying lap a little bit. As we take a look at Ryan Jones now, who is on his second qualifying lap. Of the races that he has participated in this season, remember he was suspended for round 4, he has won the pole at each of the last 2 races he has started. So Ryan Jones looking to jump up into the pole position here. Looking a personal best in the first half of the lap. Second half of the lap, good enough to jump him up into the 8th position for Ryan Jones. So that streak snapped. Here's the fastest man in practice, Johnny Rapp, in the number 76 Turtle Beach Chevrolet Silverado. Coming through turns 3 and 4 down to the start-finish line, and Rapp will put down a 30.86, so that will drop him into the 10th position. Evan Pienta crosses the line in 13th. Justin Winters right now on track in the number 52.
What's impressing me more than anything else is the top 5 are separated by less than a tenth, which at the speeds these guys are traveling is less than a truck length. So that's pretty impressive to have that many guys just packed right in there during qualifying. As Nick Lamb laying down a lap that this is going to be the second week in a row that we're not going to have an all Lamb row.
It's looking like it as Lamb puts down a 30.17 on his first lap, coming through 3 and 4 now on his second lap. Winters put it in 4th on his qualifying lap. Lamb crossing the line, jumps up into 19th with a 30.92.
And I stand corrected.
As Jeff Price, yes, yep, they're together right now. As Jeff Price will start his first lap, the only driver on track right now that's actually setting a time is the driver of the 14. It looks like he's going to call it off since he was not going to be able to get it done. And Tony, you're right. The Lamb row exists again as we will go through the
4 of 5 races.
As we will go through the starting grid here for tonight's race. Randy Bechtel takes the pole from Chase Barry, 5/100ths of a second separating those two. That will be your first row. Chris Smith and Justin Winters will make up row number 2, with Jeff Pogo and Stephen Holmes in row number 3. Jordan Smith and Jamie Leach making his second appearance of the season, starting in row number 4. Row 5 goes to Ryan Jones and Tommy Cannon. Johnny Rapp and Eric Holly will make up row number 6. Row 7 goes to Robert Dudley and Evan Pienta. Scott Stotler and Anthony Reynolds will make up row number 8.
Scotty Tompkins is going to be joining in row 9 with Luke LaFaro. We have an all-Lamb row 10 with Nick Lamb starting inside Dustin Lamb. Dale Elan Jr. and Chandler Summers rolling off in row 11. Row 12 sees Lee Norton and Larry Poling. Mike Mraz and Dan Dill going to roll off in row 13. Dill, the last driver to take time in qualifying. Starting behind him, Jeff Price and Ellis Thomas in row 14. Row 15 sees Zach Calloway and Brandon Ayers. Starting shotgun on the field in the 54, Jason Aronson.
Mike Mock also in the group as well, starting in that 32nd and final position here tonight as the guys wait for the final drivers to grid up. Tony, it is going to be an entertaining night here tonight, most definitely for these drivers, and it's going to be a ton of close, hard-fought racing You're going to need to fight for every single position you get here tonight, especially in the early run.
Absolutely, but the thing that these guys have to be mindful of, one of the most dominating drivers in the series, Randy Bechtel, is starting on the pole.
Mm-hmm.
That's dangerous for the rest of the field when that 51 gets out into clean air early on. He usually is lights out when he can do that.
He absolutely is. Is just one moment here trying to pick something up from last season. I remember it was Troy Torgerson that won this race last year in the Cup Series. I'm trying to think. I believe this race either had one caution on the very first lap or it went caution free. It was one of the two.
Caution free.
Yeah, it was caution free. So this series has done an incredible job of getting great racing out of this racetrack. Like I said, you have to be ready and you have to be saving these tires because there's no guarantee that there's going to be a caution tonight.
Well, the other thing to consider, too, is these guys do have a different aero package this year than they did last year, even in the Truck Series, and a completely different tire model and damage model, so that's something to really be mindful of.
It absolutely is. As we head through turns 3 and 4 right now, getting set to begin round number 6 here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association. Pace car is heading off. Randy Bechtel has the field in tow. 134 laps from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're green.
Absolutely, as Bechtel not getting the start that Chris Smith was hoping for, as he was shoving the daylights out of the 51 going into turn 1, pulls alongside Chase Berry, wrestles the number 2 slot away as they haul down the back straightaway, still 2 wide, 10 deep behind him.
And this is the way we're going to see it all night long as Chris Smith gets to the inside of Chase Berry, holds that line, holds that position. This inside line is going to be very, very good early on as a round goes to 24. Sideways is Jordan Smith. And the caution is out. Now, this series does not have race control, and that appeared to be a very premature throwing of the caution there. If that in fact was thrown by iRacing.
It was thrown by iRacing, and yeah, Smith was completely sideways on the exit of 4 right in front of the field. So he caught the apron just before the entrance to pit lane, and that just hold on to it, kid.
Yeah, it wasn't. We saw a flash in the back there. Jordan Smith was not the cause of the caution. Jordan Smith got very, very lucky. As a matter of fact, if you look at the car that's currently behind him right now, I believe that is Nicholas Lamb, who had an issue in turns 3 and 4 happening just at the same time that the 24 went around. So we'll take a look and see what happened with Nick Lamb. Yep, he went spinning. Lee Norton involved. Larry Poling there as well. That was the 11 of Daniel Dill, who caught a piece of it as well. We'll take a look on board of Daniel Dill's number 11. Ooh. And you can see Lamb just getting loose on his own. He comes back on the racetrack, and iRacing doing a little bit of self-censorship there.
Well, the 16 and the 21 got into it as well at the tail end of that one. So definitely not a good start to this race as Brandon Ayers got into it with the 21 of Mike March after the Lamb crash. So...
And you can see the damage on the left rear of that number 16 for Ayers, as the 24 getting incredibly lucky there. He did the same exact thing that he did in qualifying, just touching that apron down there at the bottom of turns 3 and 4. And fortunately, because of the wreck behind him that had nothing to do with what happened with the 24, that was just straight unfortunate there.
He's lucky nobody hit him.
Yeah, that was more what I was going at. That wreck was not caused by someone hitting him. That wreck was not caused by the field stacking up. That was the 37 that got loose coming through that corner. That's what caused that incident. As we double file up and get set and ready to go again on lap 5 of 134, and just as we did last year in the Cup cars, caution on lap 1. Could lightning strike twice again?
Well, the thing is, too, these guys have got to be real careful because they've got very, very cold tires right now, and it's a very cold track surface. Again, 67-degree ambient air temperature, 68-degree track temperature. Not something you're normally working with here at Vegas, as the lights are out on the iRacing pace car. Bechtel going to have the button, electing to take the inside line. Chris Smith starting second this time. So, something to be mindful of is, Smith was able to go with Bechtel last time. Now Chase Berry starting behind Randy. It's Toyota and Toyota's crime on the inside line as pace car makes the hard left turn. Bechtel can pull the trigger when he feels like it, gets into the restart zone, pulls the trigger. Berry goes with him, doing the same thing that Chris Smith did, and we are back underway here at Vegas.
Barry had the perfect restart there on the 51, was right there with him. An incredible start there for the one of Chase Barry. Also a good restart for Chris Smith as well, because that meant he was able to get to the inside a lot sooner than Barry was able to, as the 4 of Jeff Pogo now is the one that's hung out on that outside lane, trying to lead the line. He's got Justin Winters battling under him in the 52.
As almost contact coming through the tri-oval as Pogo was pinching down a little bit. The 81 of Chris Smith almost gets up into Pogo, going through 1 and 2, 3 wide off of 2.
Yep, and they're all fanning out here through turns 1 and 2 on this second lap. Still 3 wide here as the 52 of Winters finally backs out of it. So aggressive here early for both the 4, the 81 holding his position. Ryan Jones now right behind the 4 of Jeff Pogo, trying to push him up for the second spot.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous because the last time they were in this position, we were at Milwaukee, and that ended 8 different times poorly for Pogo. But right now, Randy Bechtel jumping up to that high line, coming off of turn 2 down the back straightaway to pick up Pogo as Chase Berry works to the inside. The number 4 on a great run on the outside. Nose out front off of 4, put Pogo up into second as Randy Bechtel continues to lead.
And this is a racetrack where the outside line is going to come in the longer and longer the run goes. That inside line on fresh tires, when you can still hold it wide open, is going to be very beneficial. But as the tires start to wear out, the groove is going to start to push up. And if you can maintain it on the outside early in the run, you either 1, have a very good handling truck, or 2, you're really burning the rubber off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. As Pogo has Bechtel pinched down to that outside line, not letting him get the run off the corner that he needs to try to conserve that right front tire, as Bechtel full send-it mode going into 1 to try to get some daylight between he and Pogo. Pogo hanging tight as it's drag race down the back straightaway. They're still too wide.
Yeah, this is looking a lot more like Daytona as compared to a 1.5-mile racetrack, is 2 by 2 throughout the entire field. Look who else has come up here. It's the 76 of Johnny Rapp, started in 11th, is up into the 7th position, or battling for the 7th position at least. That 76 of Rapp having a very good showing. We saw him a lot at Daytona, as a matter of fact, not quite so much since.
Yeah, Rapp hasn't done well on the shorter tracks that we've been seeing, and the more technical track, as that battle for the lead still rages on. Pogo with a nose out front, give the lap to Pogo. We've got a new leader.
And Jeff Pogo just barely out in front here, but this entire field really all the way back to Dustin Lamb in the 17th position, or now make it Dale Elan Jr. in the 16th position, running side by side. We'll take a ride on board with Eric Holly in the number 8, and you can just see this is absolutely great. This is incredible racing we're seeing here. This is Daytona or Talladega squeezed into a mile and a half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we see this not very often here at Vegas. Vegas normally doesn't give this level of competition, but these guys are making it work. I don't know if it's the new aero model, the new tire model, the combination of the two, or just the talent factor in this league, as these guys are just getting it right now, as Ryan Jones currently sitting in the number 2 spot right in front of Justin Winters on that outside line, as Chase Berry looks like he's starting to struggle on the inside in the 1.
That inside line does have a little bit of a break now between first and second. On that inside line, Randy Bechtel leading that inside line, but there's about 3 or 4 car lengths back to Chase Berry, who's second on that inside line, and that goes to what we were talking about before. You can run this car wide open, but it tears the tires up. You're going to need them for the long run here. Not only that, but the line, as the tires start to fall away, moves up. Those guys on the inside, they may be feeling good right now, but they're essentially trapped in the wrong lane right now.
Yeah, absolutely. As they're getting to the point in the tire run, they're working lap 14, getting ready to start 15, where you've worn the tires, you've worn the good rubber off the tires, and now you're just down to the let's hang on till the end of this tire run. Definitely Barry starting to slip, as Chris Smith all over his tailgate.
Chris Smith all over him. We saw Scott Tompkins go to the apron in the tri-oval, something you will see all throughout this night here. Guys trying to head to that apron, try to get underneath, especially later on in the race, as Bechtel and Pogo still in a duel, still in lockstep. Both the 7 and 52 are very clear to go down as they please. Just goes to show you that outside line is the preferred lane around here. They have that option to take the inside. They're not taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, Steve Smith in the Tickle Zombie number 9 making it happen on the high side as well, as he moves up into the number 5 slot, as the 1 of Chase Berry continues to struggle. Here comes Jamie Leach in the 13. Now, the one thing, Frank, that I was noticing during the hot lap session, there was only a handful of drivers that were practicing getting onto and off of pit road under speed. So that's going to be something these guys are going to really need to be mindful of, because this is not an easy pit road to get onto and off of.
Oh, it's an arched pit road as well. It's not a straight pit road that you would see at most other racetracks. So there is that element to it. This banking here is also very difficult to get onto and off of. It is a rather steep banking. Now there is where you saw the little break on the inside line coming out of turn 4 to where you can get back on, where you can get down and not have such a vicious break in the banking. But still, you have to slow up a lot sooner than that. It is a difficult pit road to get onto.
Absolutely. It's even more difficult to not get run over from behind, especially if somebody's on fresher tires and you're trying to get onto pit road. It's very common to see somebody trying to run that inside line, not realizing you're going into pit, and just bang. Next thing you know, you're rear-ended from behind.
The big pack now is starting to break up a little bit. At least the front 5 have broken away from the second group that's being led right now by the man you see on screen. That is the 13 of Jamie Leach. Leach is right now just trying to maintain that gap, maintain that position, still running the middle lane. Chase Berry has fallen from second on this restart all the way down to the 8th position and still moving backwards. This could be a tire saving strategy for that number 1. If it's not, he might be concerned now.
They're 3 wide behind him. That's Evan Pienta, the meat and the sandwich, as they come off of turn number 2, trying to get that that Ford F-150 up into position. They finally get it sorted out going into turn number 3. Pienta makes a great move on Tommy Cannon. And don't look now, but Luke LaFaro in the Jegs number 20 all over the back end of the 47.
That was Tommy Cannon that was in the outside there. The 76 of Johnny Rapp was on the inside as we're riding on board right now with Tommy Cannon. Look at how close Luke Lafaro is getting. He's got the nose under him going into turn 3. And with these guys being so far back in this pack, they haven't been pushing the tires as much. Lafaro can still throw it down in there if need be to make a pass.
Yeah, he can, but don't look now. But Chris Smith has finally been gut free as he's to the inside of the 13 of Jamie Leach, trying to make it happen on that inside line, and drag race into turn number 3 as they are side by side still.
Leach just losing out on the corner there as Chris Smith just has him. Chase Barry coming up as well in that number 1 as the guys start to single file out behind them. The 81 of Smith taking to that apron to try to get the advantage, trying to hold that inside line now, coming through 3 and 4. The other Smith, Jordan Smith, is in this group as well. He has gotten up into the 18th position, the 15th position, pardon me. Down in 17th position, we saw him up towards the front on this restart. Robert Dudley in the 49 starting to fall backwards. Eric Holly doing the same. Those guys were towards the back of the big group that was up at the front of this field, now starting to fall even further behind.
Absolutely, as Pogo and Ryan Jones were going at it for the number 2 spot for a little bit, as Stephen Holmes makes the inside of Justin Winters coming off a 2. Drag race for 4th spot as Holmes backs out of it and lets Winters get a nose out front. That inside line not working well this late into the tire run as the battle still rages on back for the number 7 spot. That's Barry on the inside, Leach on the high side, and Evan Pienta, your points leader, sitting there going, come on, guys, move.
Pienta starting to work his way forward. Pienta starting back in the 14th position, is now up into 9th. Is that 00 as Chase Barry gets the position away from Jamie Leach. Luke Lafaro starting to move his way up towards the front. Scott Tompkins doing the same in the number 25. So Tompkins bringing the 24 through the 6 of Dale Eland. In this pack, we're starting to see single file racing. We're starting to see that inside line move just a little bit. But with the side-by-side racing gone, that inside line's looking a little bit better than it was about 10 laps ago.
These guys are able to arc the corner, and that's the biggest key, is they're trying to straighten out the corner as much as they can. And without having to worry about somebody on your high side or somebody on your low side, they're able to arc the corner. And you can see the guys that are able to do that as opposed to, the guys that are still running side by side is Eland and Tommy Cannon in lockstep coming off of turn number 2. You can see that Eland has to really pinch it off, loses a ton of momentum going into the corner, and that's going to let him fall back into the clutches of Eric Holly in the Oakley number 8.
We just saw Scott Stotler in the number 5, and the reason why we were highlighting him, he is back in the 22nd position. He is the last car in this big group here, so 1 through 22 all running right together here as Eland gets to the inside of Cannon. Holly thought about having a look to the outside, making it 3 wide, but now he has to contend with Robert Dudley under him.
Yeah, absolutely. The ALS Mercury Boats number 49 of Robert Dudley making a little bit of headway already. Started 21st, started 13th. He has fallen back a little bit. Currently sits in the number 17 slot, but Dudley's a long ball player. He definitely doesn't have the short run speed usually, but look for him towards the end of a tire run. He really knows how to into the wall.
Oh, who was that?
Eric Holly.
Eric Holly in the 8. There he is. Slow is the 55 of Zach Calloway as well. So it's a little too hard on the push there, and the caution has come out.
Yeah, it started with Holly getting into the back at Eland as the the 55 of Callaway absolutely nowhere to go, and the 30, the 80 of Ellis Thomas getting into it, and then Dustin Lamb got taken into the turn 4 wall by the 54.
And the 54 is the reason for the caution here. It's only our second caution here, working lap 31. Let's take a look and see what happened as everything. Ooh. Boy, that was Harrison trying to go through a gap that just was not there. As we'll try to see now what happened with the 8 of Holly as we go a little bit further back. Well, Holly's already been in the wall at this point.
That started in the middle of the back straightaway as Dale England Jr. didn't really get a good run off of turn 2. Holly got into the back of him. Callaway absolutely nowhere to go, just turned Holly up into the wall. Those guys were running a little bit slow. Ellis Thomas was trying to take evasive action as Lamb and Harrison came up on him. And again, like you said, Harrison tried to go through a gap that just was not there.
Pit stops now in full effect here as we've completed 31 laps of this event. We'll see coming out of pit lane here. Randy Bechtel was the first one into the box. And coming out of pit lane, looks like Ryan Jones is the first one to move. Bechtel wins the race off of pit road. Ryan Jones gains a spot on the number 4 of Jeff Pogo. And that is how pit stops will go here at Las Vegas. Under caution here for just the second time tonight for the TickleZombie.com TNT Truck Series presented by the United Sim Racing Association. We will be back right after this.
Well, the Lambs have some fans tonight.
About to go back to Green Flag Racing here. And coming up on ESPN here tonight, coming up on this weekend, pardon me, Sunday night will be the Medieval Racing League at Darlington. That'll be an 8:15 start. Monday night will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series from Atlanta, as starting at 8:20. And the Tuesday doubleheaders are back. The MX5 Pro Series presented by UK Sim Racing. We'll see round number 5 at Summit Point Raceway at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League at 10:05. They will have round number 2 at Texas Motor Speedway. Coming back to the green flag here, about to begin lap number 35. Randy Bechtel on the inside, Ryan Jones on the outside. Green flag back in the air. We are racing at Las Vegas once again. A good start by Pogo gets him up into that second position.
Great start by Pogo as he's able to nose out Ryan Jones for that number 2 spot. A few retirements to talk about. Lee Norton has put it on the hauler. Mike March has put it on the hauler. And unfortunately, Nick Lamb has decided to put it on the hauler as well. As I noticed, there were some Lamb Racing fans in the chat. Go ahead and let us know who you're pulling for if you're watching right now on the live stream. As Jason Harrison had a disconnect as Pogo to the outside of Randy Bechtel going through 1 and 2 side by side, and Pogo trying to keep the momentum wound up on the top side.
Yeah, Pogo looking very comfortable on that outside as Randy Bechtel tries to hold the inside line and had successfully done so on that first stint. Ryan Jones in second, Stephen Holmes up into the 4th position. Then it's side by side, Justin Winters, Chase Barry. Luke Lafaro now falling in behind Evan Pienta on that outside line. The outside line looking like the place to be here early in these runs, a complete reversal of what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. As you're able to keep the momentum wound up here at Vegas in that second lane, it seems to be working best for these guys, especially as the run wears on and you wear the goodie off the tires. But great run right now for both Pienta and Lafaro as they've made a lot of headway since the initial start, as the 52 of Winters throws it to the inside of Holmes going through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Pienta right now +7 from his starting position. Luke Lafaro +10 from his starting position as Jeff Pogo still trying to battle with Randy Bechtel, still trying to gain that momentum and that drive off the outside line. The 52 of Justin Winters falls to the inside. Chase Barry does the same. As this field now once again starting to double up here, all of them incredibly close once again, all the way back to Scott Stotler in the 17th position.
Absolutely, and take a look right now. Great recovery run for the driver of the United States Air Force, number 24, as they come out of the Nellis back straightaway. That, of course, is Jordan Smith, who we saw do a little landscaping on the opening salvo of this race. Able to recover back into the top 10 as he's now battling side by side with Jamie Leach, and he's also got Luke Lafaro right there as that inside line. The one of Chase Barry looks like he might be holding up that inside line.
Yeah, we are back to pack racing here at Las Vegas as we take a look. Yep, 3 wide, a little bit further behind in the group. Sorts itself out. Johnny Rapp running that outside line. We saw him falling back. He was one of the guys that was stuck on the inside line during the first run, started to fall back, now trying to work the outside to stay forward. And once again, there's a big gap on that inside line led by Chase Barry in the number 1. Not sure if this is a setup decision by Barry that's keeping him back here this way or if it's strategy, but either way, I'm sure Chris Smith is a little less than entertained with the driver of the number 1 right now.
Absolutely. Smith has been on the tailgate of Barry since the drop of the green, as there goes the 52 of Winters to the inside of Jeff Pogo, bringing Ryan Jones with him. Jones and Pogo now side by side as they take it down the Nellis back straightaway.
You know, Pogo just could not make that outside line work the same way he did during the last run, and the 4 and 7 now running side by side in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Stephen Holmes, Evan Pienta running right behind them. Luke Lafaro here as well for LaFar. I believe it's just his third entry through the first 6 races this season. One of the guys who was a big contender for the championship in the Cup Series last year, LaFaro, trying to re-stamp that authority here in the Truck Series starting tonight. As
LaFaro gets around the one of Barry, finally gets able to arc that corner. But Jamie Leach in the 13 looking to do the same thing as the 24 of Jordan Smith rolls it to the outside line to try to help Leach as they work their way into turn number 1, still side by side with Chase Berry. Right behind him, though, they got a very hungry Scotty Tompkins and a very hungry Chris Smith in the 81.
See how close these guys get as we ride on board with Jordan Smith in that number 24. It's that close sometimes with these guys, and you can see a lot of play in the wheel for Jordan Smith, so he is letting off a little bit, still not comfortable in that car, trying to catch it as much as he possibly can in that number 24.
I dare say that he set the truck up just a little too much on the loose side. Granted, we do have cooler track temperatures than we normally see here at Vegas, and these guys aren't normally running the trucks this loose because the track does tighten up as the lights go down. But I dare say that Jordan Smith may have just missed ever so slightly on the setup, as right now the battle still rages on up in the top 4 as Pogo now slots in behind Jones. Jamie Leach still in lockstep, though, with the 81 as the 25 looking to the inside.
And it's the 25 of Scott Tompkins, tried to get to the inside and was looking in the middle between the 81 and the 13. Evan Pienta and Jordan Smith, 2 teammates running side by side, are those two. As Pienta running that outside line. Jeff Pogo's gone to the extreme outside line, is starting to fall backwards. He's already lost the position to Ryan Jones. Now going to lose a position, it appears at least, to Stephen Holmes in the 9. Evan Pienta kind of there to catch his fall at this point in the 00.
Yeah, Pogo had a big wiggle going into 1 as Pienta.
Oh, right behind them, it's the 6 of Eland. Hard into the outside wall. Johnny Rapp there as well. And that will be caution number 3. Oh!
Jeepers.
It's Jamie Leach in the 16. Brandon Ayers. Sorry, Leach in the 13. Ayers in the 16 after that.
So that started with the 13 getting a hip check from the 25. Goes up into the safer barrier as Johnny Rapp was trying to stay off of the 13, not knowing if he was going to come down into him. And unfortunately, Elin didn't realize he was being pinched off that much and just got into Rapp, and into the wall they went.
Yeah, they were 3 wide at that point. You could tell from that onboard we just had with Johnny Rapp, he did not know that he was 3 wide there. As pit stops happening again here. Randy Bechtel deciding to stay out, but a lot of the guys all throughout the field here taking pit stops. This might be fuel only for a lot of these guys, and I think that's what they're going for. As Evan Pienta goes fuel only, he's going to beat all of these guys off of pit road.
Yeah, Bechtel stayed out, Winter stayed out, LaFaro, Barry, Smith, Tompkins, Thomas, and Stotler all stayed out. Evan Pienta winning the battle off pit road in the 00. And you are correct, that was fuel only for everybody except Ryan Jones. Jones electing to take 4.
So Ryan Jones here, a little bit shy of halfway through this race, has already used 2 of his 4 sets of tires available to him tonight. So an interesting decision there for Ryan Jones, as that has kind of put him behind the 8 ball, as again the top 8 deciding not to come into pit road even to top off on this last round of pit stops. So as Tony mentioned, it's Bechtel, Winters, LaFaro, Barry, Smith, Tompkins, Thomas, and Stotler as Jeff Pogo is back in pit road in the number 4.
Well, here's the thing. Jones is now on his 3rd set of tires.
Yeah.
Because there's the set that they qualified and started the race on. That's the same set. He changed under the first caution. Now he's changed under the second caution. So, yeah, definitely behind the 8 ball should this race stay green for an extended period of time. He's only got 1 set left.
Just saw Jeff Pogo there do a pass through. Not sure if that was a penalty that was issued or if that was him just trying to get to the end of the line. But either way, Jeff Pogo will come out in the 22nd position. Only Johnny Rapp behind him. And you can see all the damage on that Turtle Beach number 76 machine. Of Rapp, Mike Mraz. And that Green Giant number 94, Eric Holly on pit road, repairing damage from an earlier incident. Dale Eland on pit road, repairing damage from this incident. Jason Ayerson in the 54 still out on track, and everyone from Dustin Lamb on down. So Dustin Lamb, Mike Mock, Nicholas Lamb, Lee Norton, and Daniel Dill all retired. Norton and Dill not completing a lap before their nights came to a close. Stephen Holmes coming into pit road again to reset to the back. And for the 3rd time, Jeff Pogo down pit road.
Dill has been having connection issues, and I'm not sure why Pogo's going down pit road again.
This will be for a 3rd time under this caution that Pogo has decided to take it pit side. This time he does go into his box.
Stephen Holmes getting a top off of fuel before we go back to green, as is Jamie Leach. So fuel strategy already starting to reel its head, as we know that Vegas tends to be a fuel mileage race.
Yep, absolutely. As the field double filing up here for this restart. As you can see, we are just past 9 p.m. in sim time. Track is heating up a little bit. It was 68, now 69 degrees.
And the winds died down a little bit, as it was a 9-mile-an-hour wind gusting to a 12. Starting to pick up a little bit, but
it's looking like a 5 gusting to about 9 now as we head off of turn 4. Tony, take it away.
Pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn. Bechtel has the button on the inside line. Justin Winters has been strong as Bechtel pulls the trigger. We are back underway. Luke LaFaro, great restart on the inside line. Unfortunately for Justin Winters, one of the most difficult restart spots, especially in this truck where you cannot see out the passenger side window. LaFaro up into the number 2 spot.
Scott Stotler starting to fall towards the back in that Exalta number 5 Chevrolet Silverado. Now getting passed by Jeff Price. So Stotler's going to fall from 8th to at least 13th right now. Still falling to the back. Zach Calloway under him now, and he'll look to slot in between Calloway and Tommy Cannon as Bechtel leads away here from Justin Winters and Luke LaFaro running side by side. LaFaro has flip reversed the lanes that he was in. LaFaro started on the inside lane. He's now on the outside as the 52 of Justin Winters slots in behind him. Chase Barry there as well, but Barry has Chris Smith for company on the inside.
And this is something different. We've seen Chase Barry on the inside line all night long, trying the outside line to see how it works for him, as he's able to maintain with Chris Smith on his inside. Smith takes it down to the apron, going across the stripe. Still, Barry able to keep it wound up in that second lane. Looks a little bit more comfortable in that Toyota Tundra on the high side than he did on the inside. And here comes the 7 of Ryan Jones on the fresh rubber.
Absolutely. Ryan Jones starting to work his way back up through this field. Certainly helped by the fact that some of the guys that came in with him and came out ahead of him came down pit road once again for tires. As that 7 of Jones has gotten himself up into the 5th position, came in on lap 48 to take the tires, so he does have pretty sizable advantage on those tires, about 17 laps better tires than anybody else around him right now.
4/10 to the good on that last lap. He was the fastest truck on track the last time across the stripe was Ryan Jones, as Randy Bechtel continues to show the way, and that time a 10th to the good over everybody around him. So Ryan Jones using the fresh tires to his advantage early on in the run as he slots in behind LaFaro, throws it to the inside down the Nellis backstretch.
Ryan Jones, the only driver on track in the 32nd bracket that last time around. The 30.93 for Ryan Jones as he will get around Luke LaFaro and now set his sights on getting under Justin Winters, and has done so successfully. Will now look for the 51 of Randy Bechtel, who has led all but a couple of laps while he was battling with Jeff Pogo.
And again, the only driver on track still under the 31-second mark, as Bechtel with the fresh air, 31.2, as now Jones and Bechtel side by side through 3 and 4. Give it to Jones as he's able to maintain and get the horsepower down. So we've got a new leader.
It was an accident, but right now at least it appears as though it was a happy accident. I would have to assume that Jones took tires on that pit stop. Not necessarily what you would want to do. Take tires with only 17 laps on the other ones. When you have that tire limit, you see the connection issues there for Chase Barry in the 1, rounding out that top 5. But Ryan Jones right now currently in the lead here in that number 7 Toyota Tundra. Looking back a little bit further, Jordan Smith, the points leader, starting to recover. He is up into the 7th position right now. Randy Bechtel and Evan Pienta, the two guys that sit in 2nd and 3rd in the championship. Pienta right behind him. Bechtel in 2nd has led quite a good number of laps here as we inch closer and closer to halfway. Ellis Thomas in that 80 looking nice in the 10th position.
You got to think every bonus point is counting, as Bechtel's got his bonus point for leading a lap, as Smith has yet to do so. Pienta has yet to do so. So these guys are, every point counts from here on out, with especially as tight as the points battle is currently, as right now Ryan Jones has just set sail as he's 3 truck lengths to the good over your second place in points, Randy Bechtel. Justin Winters doing everything he can to try to keep Luke LaFaro behind him, as LaFaro right in his slipstream, as the one at Chase Berry not falling off like we saw him do earlier, so that second lane starting to pay dividends for the 1.
Anthony Reynolds, as we just saw, losing a position to the 16 of Brandon Ayers. That was a battle for the 17th spot on track, as we're pretty well single filed out here no matter where you look in this field. There's Ryan Jones currently leading, Randy Bechtel in the 2nd position, Justin Winters, Luke LaFaro, Chase Barry currently running in the top 5, as that's the 76 of Johnny Rapp that's down there on the apron. Now starting to catch slower cars with damage, starting also to catch drivers that have not had the best of runs.
Yeah, absolutely. As we're starting to get to that point where the tires have all worn pretty much, except for the race leader Ryan Jones, who continues to extend that lead on the freshest rubber on track, as right now the battle is for the number 15 spot between Stotler and Summers, as those two going hammer and tongs right now, the closest battle on track, as Jordan Smith works to the inside of Scotty Tompkins.
Yep, actually I think that might be the other way around. I think Tompkins going to the outside of the 24 of Smith, as Smith will be able to hold his ground on that inside line. Evan Pienta still sitting there with him. You'd have to think he's going with his teammate in the 24 of Jordan Smith. But right now he's deciding that outside line is looking a little bit better right now, as single file racing really starting to take over here, as Luke LaFaro jumps to the outside of Justin Winters for 3rd.
And, the one thing we've seen Evan Pienta do all season long that we haven't seen him do in the past is work on conserving his tires and running that second line seems to be the way to go right now. As you're right, LaFaro was able to get by Winters, wrestle the number 4 spot away from him, as now he works on the back of LaFaro, as LaFaro running a little bit higher of a line, and Barry having to figure out how he's got to get by him. Is right now Randy Bechtel really starting to struggle, as Ryan Jones has just walked away from these guys.
As would be expected, again, with 17 lap better tires on that number 7. Jones has pulled out to a lead of just over a second on Randy Bechtel. You're seeing the 11 of Daniel Dill. We had mentioned that he was out of the race. Well, he's clearly not anymore. Spent 34 minutes on pit road after being involved in that first accident. He has gotten that number 11 Ford F-150 back out on the track. Daniel Dill currently running in the 29th position, but very much not out of this race at the moment.
Would have been back sooner, but he did have a connection issue, which had him have to reset his server. So, he's back out on track, turning laps, but definitely a ton of laps down right now, as this field's starting to get a little bit strung out. Stephen Holmes working around the 85 of Anthony Reynolds, not happy with the tire selection on the Tickle Zombie number 9 right now, as he's already fallen back to the number 18 spot, as we saw him in the top 5 earlier.
Yeah, remember that he was just about to mention the comeback brigade between the 9 and the 4. Both of those guys coming into pit at the last second there during that caution flag to get to the back of the field. So Holmes and Pogo trying to work their way up through the field at the moment. Holmes in 18th, Pogo in 19th. They've just gotten past Chandler Summers, and now they have this little three-way battle between the 82 of Anthony Reynolds, the 16 of Brandon Ayers, and the 5 of Scott Stotler running ahead of them before they reach a little bit of a gap. And then there's the 2 Blue Mountain Racing cars of Tommy Cannon and Zach Calloway that they'll have to contend with. Blue Ridge Racing, pardon me.
I was going to say, but right now, Ayers and Stotler in lockstep, and that's got to be holding these guys up a little bit behind them, as Holmes flirting with disaster, just touching the apron, going through 3 and 4, trying to get that truck to loosen up a little bit, as it looks like it might be a touch on the tight side. Right now, though, Ayers still working the inside of Stotler. Stotler hanging tight, or hanging tough, in that Exalta Chevy Silverado on the high side, as finally Ayers able to get a nose out front. We're back under caution.
Yep, I think it was the 24 of Jordan Smith. It was, and there's a lot of damage on that number 24 of Smith, at least on the back end, as we'll take a look at the front end of that race car here in just a moment. But that 24 is beaten and bent up. Last we left him, he was battling with his teammate in the 00 and Justin Winters in the 52. And the points leader has run into quite a bit of trouble here right around the middle stages of this race, and we'll see what happens right now.
Looks like the 25 just came up into him.
I don't
or
know
came
if
down into him, I should say.
I don't know if Tompkins was.
Yeah, the 25 came down into him, trying to start a move on the 52, and just unfortunately, Jordan Smith was there.
Yeah, that was a little rough there. It looked a little rough, at least, as the field comes down pit road here on lap 72, just a little bit past halfway here tonight. And as what would have been expected, Ryan Jones kind of forced to stay out after taking tires under that last caution flag on lap 48. We'll see what the run out of pit road looks like this time.
I'm actually surprised that Jones didn't come down to at least get fuel, because we have noticed to get the long green flag runs, you're only looking about 40 laps on the tank of Go Fast around here. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, but at least get fuel, even if you're not going to be able to take tires, as Luke Lafaro winning the battle off pit road.
There's a blistering pit stop at a 13.15 second stop in his box there for the number 20. So a wonderful stop there by the Jegs crew, getting him out in front of Randy Bechtel. And again, we had mentioned it off air during one of the previous cautions. It was the caution where Ryan Jones beat Jeff Pogo out of pit road. Maybe a little gamesmanship there by Randy Bechtel, knowing how good the restart is on the inside line. It takes the outside a second to get wound up. That might have been a situation where Bechtel kind of let him go through. But again, when you have a pit stop that's about a second and a half quicker, that might have also just been straight power stop there by that number 20.
That team definitely ate their Wheaties this morning. But, yeah, Bechtel definitely with the advantage on pit road. He can come out when he really feels like it, being as he's not that far from the commitment cone. So, Jack goes down, he can see what's going on around him and pull the trigger as hard as he really feels like it to just accelerate off pit road, or not as hard as he feels like it. But, yeah, definitely a little bit of gamesmanship there by Bechtel. But you can't fault the crew of Lafaro for doing that stop in under 14 seconds. That's an amazing 4-tire and fuel stop.
We'll take a look here at the pit stop time for drivers 2nd through 6th. By far and away, Luke Lafaro faster by a second and a half there down pit road. Evan Piento, one of the guys that came in for fuel only back on lap 48. Which is why you see the extra stop there for him. As going back now to that number 9, carrying the series sponsor on the car, Tony, just tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Frank, let me start by asking this simple question. Do your t-shirts lack life like mine?
Mine were just holding an illegal poker game last night. I don't know.
I'm just sitting here in a plain gray t-shirt. But if your shirts are showing no signs of life, you need to go see Brian over at ticklezombie.com. You can choose from an ever-expanding selection of mindlessly quirky designs created from spur-of-the-moment ideas that'll tickle your fancy. Not only do they have shirts, but yes, I know it's summer, but they've also got hoodies, they've got hats, they've got mugs. So, anything you want, they can probably do it. There's no need to really think about it. Just go over to ticklezombie.com and tell Brian we sent you, and it'll make even the undead take notice.
Make a mindless decision and head on over to ticklezombie.com as we get set to go back to Green Flag Racing here, lap 75 of 134 here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Ryan Jones has the restart on the outside line. Another great start by Chase Barry in the 1, gets both of them clear as we're back to green.
And we were talking about gamesmanship under the caution, as Jones electing to take the outside line to cut off Randy Bechtel, as Luke Lafaro finally getting it wound up. Bechtel all over his tailgate, and don't look now, but here comes Pienta in the 0-0.
Yeah, Pienta starting to move forward. Again, that's a tie for second place in the point standings. Is that 51 and the 0-0 is, boy, a lot of cars getting loose, namely the 14 of Jeff Price getting a little squirrely there through 3 and 4 as Randy Bechtel looks to the inside of Luke Lafaro going into 1, just could not quite get there.
Lafaro with a nose out front on the fresher tires, and you got to think Ryan Jones is starting to struggle right now as they are 3 wide going into turn 3.
They're 3 abreast for the race lead without a doubt as Randy Bechtel makes the move to the inside, hits the apron just a little bit, the 0-0 and 20 makes some contact coming through turns 3 and 4. LaFaro still sitting 3 wide in the middle, has a little bit of a gap between himself and the 16 now, but the 16 gets loose going through 1 and 2, and now that gap is closed.
That was a white knuckle moment for sure, as they're still slugging it out. Here comes the 1 of Barry to the inside of the 7 of Ryan Jones. Jones has got to be kicking himself. Still 3 wide. Here comes the 81 up through the middle.
When we're riding on board with Luke LaFaro, and that 81 came through as if he had a rocket ship attached to the back of that car. That 81 of Chris Smith not messing around up into the 5th position, as now Jeff Price starting to work on Luke LaFaro. LaFaro might have taken 2 tires.
That's what it's appearing, is he's definitely a lot looser than he should be, and it's really struggling right now as the 16 of Ayers gets by him. There goes Dudley. There goes the 55 of Callaway. Yeah, the 20 is definitely not a happy truck right now.
And Callaway getting right under Robert Dudley, made a sneaky little move there going into coming out of the tri-oval, to get to the inside of that 49. The 80 of Ellis Thomas now filing his way through. Ooh. Ryan Jones also falling to the back. Jones down in the middle of 3 wide, almost getting hit by the 16 of Ayers.
Yeah, that was a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of moment. And the worst thing you can hear your spotter say in iRacing is 3 wide, you're the meat. And don't look now, but here comes the 9 of Stephen Holmes on a recovery drive after going down pit road under the previous caution, not this last one, but to just take fuel only, dropping him to almost the tail end of the field. So great recovery drive from Holmes as he's flirting on the top 10 right now.
I'm not sure if I disagree with him there. Ryan Jones completely bails out of that and now has found himself kind of in a moment to where he can reset towards the back of this group. He's fallen from 1st to 21st in a matter of 5 laps as Jeff Pogo now trying to get past Chandler Summers in the 15, trying to stay in lockstep with Stephen Holmes in the 9. Looks as though he is doing so at the moment. Up at the front, got a wild race going on up here for the race lead. That's Bechtel, Barry, and Pienta on the outside. Chris Smith there as well. Justin Winters trying to battle them all on the inside.
As Winters tries to get the run out of 2, still in lockstep with Chase Berry. And again, I said it before and I'll say it again, Barry's truck seems to be a little bit happier on the high side. But right now, Justin Winters able to carry a little bit more speed, still working on fresh tires, and you feel like Superman when you've got the good rubber under you right now, as he's in lockstep right now with Bechtel as they haul it off into turn number 1.
Now, there's a multitude of different race reasons why these guys would be aggressive here tonight as Winters takes over that race lead. Bechtel immediately jumps down to the inside to try to retake it. There's a multitude of reasons why these guys would be aggressive here tonight. One, it's a track and a car that definitely leans towards you needing to be aggressive if you want to be successful here. Points coming down. We're kind of starting that second quarter of the season. But also when you go to next week is going to be a wild card for a lot of these guys as we head to the dirt at Eldora next week. They're trying to get as many points as they possibly can this week, especially if they're dreading that race at Eldora next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of guys don't have a lot of dirt experience, aren't comfortable on the dirt, aren't comfortable in the truck on the dirt. So they're looking to take next week as a drop week. So you've got to get as many points as you can leading into that week. As you know, we normally say that the super speedways are the wild card races, but there's nothing wilder than a track surface that's constantly changing like a dirt track.
Yep, and these guys do. Fortunately, it's lined up at a pretty good week. While it may not be the same track, it's the same style of racing as the C-Fix Series is at Knoxville this week in preparation for the Truck Series first trip to Knoxville tomorrow night. So these guys can get a good amount of dirt practice all the way up through Monday. And again, it'll be a different racetrack comes next Thursday, but still dirt experience in a truck in racing conditions. That could be valuable information to gather.
It can be if it wasn't for the fact that Knoxville and Eldora race completely differently. It would be like the same as saying that practicing at Milwaukee is going to help you at Bristol. The tracks race so differently. You've got the high banks of Eldora. You've got the very flat surface of Knoxville. Yes, they're both half miles, but just two completely different skill sets are needed to be successful at those two tracks. Not to mention, the setups are completely night and day of each other.
Stephen Holmes getting very, very close there with Robert Dudley going into turn one last time through. This is a battle just inside the top 10. Dudley in 9th, Holmes in 10th. As we take a look at the lap times between those two drivers over these last couple of laps, Holmes has been pretty decisively quicker, especially on lap 86 2 laps ago. Dudley holding down the fort, though, in that 9th position as this battle up here at the front continues to rage on. Chase Barry to the inside of Chris Smith. Smith trying to get up into the top 4 now. Not satisfied with the top 5. Ellis Thomas up 22 positions from where he started up into the 6th position. Jeff Price plus 20. Zach Calloway plus 21 running in 6th, 7th, and 8th.
As that battle for the lead still rages on, Winters able to finally wrestle it away from Bechtel. And don't look now, but second place in points, running in lockstep of each other. That's Bechtel on the low side, Pienta on the high side. Pienta needs to get a bonus point to stay in step with Bechtel tonight.
Tied for second in points, tied for second virtually on the racetrack as Bechtel and Pienta go side by side down the back straightaway, almost dead even. Barry able to hold off Chris Smith for the 4th position. Smith now having to worry more about Ellis Thomas behind him. Zach Calloway starting to put a lot of pressure on Jeff Price in the 7th position in the number 14. Then there's a little bit of a gap, about 3/4 second gap, back to the battle we were watching before between Dudley and Holmes. Jeff Pogo right there as well in the top 11.
Absolutely, is the battle for second still rages on. Pienta able to get a nose out front going through 3 and 4. And right now, fresh air for Justin Winters is really letting him start to leg it out as Pienta finally gets second away from Bechtel.
This is the highest Evan Pienta has been all night long as he finally completes that pass on Randy Bechtel. Bechtel, though, definitely going to come right back at him, trying to look at a position where he can get a run and get to that inside. Can the 51, the 00, taking that middle lane, he'll allow that 51 to get to the inside, but that momentum will carry the 00 back through the corner as Price and Chris Smith, start to battle for 5th.
Smith and Price just slugging it out right now as they're 2 by 2 behind them as well. That is Ellis Thomas and Zach Calloway slugging it out for the number 7 spot. But Price and Smith trying to still get it sorted out. Is Price giving Smith plenty of room on the inside line, able to use the high line to get the nose out front, move Price up into the number 5 spot.
And as you can see in the back of this group here, Robert Dudley, with all this battling going on, that has brought Dudley, Holmes, and Pogo back up into this group. So it's a stretched out 11-car field, a pack up here at the front, but it is an 11-car pack nonetheless as Dudley looks to the outside of Ellis Thomas now, as Thomas in danger of losing not just 1 but 3 positions possibly. That inside line not working the way it was before.
Yeah, absolutely not, but there is a 4-truck breakaway at the front. Justin Winters shows the way. Evan Pienta, Randy Bechtel, and Chase Berry about 6 car lengths to the good over the 81 of Chris Smith, who still finally gets it sorted out with Jeff Price as Robert Dudley looking to the inside going into turn 3.
Riding on board with Stephen Holmes as we watch these battles unfolding up here in front of these guys. We'll take a look a little bit further back right now. Scott Stotler and Chandler Summers battling for 13th position. These two finishing first and second at the season opener in Daytona in the respective order that they're running in now. Trying to chase down Ayers a little bit further back. Mike Mraz in the number 95. He's had a very quiet night, up into 17th.
Yeah, Mraz just kind of riding right now. Still early in the race as we're only working lap 96 of 134. As Stephen Holmes did it the hard way, went around the outside of Robert Dudley to move up into the number 9 slot. As Scott Stotler moves up to the high line, going through 1 and 2, working on the outside of Ellis Thomas as the 14 has to chase it down the track.
Price took a big swing on the inside line, was not there in order to get to Chris Smith. Now starting to fall off the back of that Valvoline number 81. By the way, for the drivers you were watching before, Luke Lafaro, who we believe took 2 tires on that last stop. You see the damage on the right side of the car. He has been in the wall, currently running in the 22nd position. Ryan Jones, who is left with 1 set of tires remaining when the pit stops came around on lap 48, stayed out last time, so he's on those old tires, is in the 20th position, about 5 seconds off the back of Larry Poling, or pardon me, actually about 2 seconds, off the back of Larry Poling. And as a matter of fact, he is in pit road right now, so that will put the 7 down a lap as Justin Winters currently leads Evan Pienta and Randy Bechtel in the top 3 here tonight. As Winters crosses the line, we have hit the century mark. We still have 1 more pit stop and 35 laps to go here at Las Vegas, and we'll bring it all to you when we return back right after this. Working lap 106 of 134 here from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You saw during the break a battle for the second position, one that Bechtel had won. Bechtel has now lost that position again, as well as some battling just inside the top 10 with Stephen Holmes, Jeff Pogo, Ellis Thomas. That has sorted itself out as well, as we see Jeff Price working that outside line, trying to get the momentum to make a pass on Chris Smith to get himself up into the top 5 in that number 14.
Yeah, we saw the 14 start to struggle about mid-tire run, as these guys are 35 laps on their current tires, or most of them are. Precious Tires on track again goes to Ryan Jones, as he was able to put his last set on, but he had to do it under green flag conditions. He did lose a lap. That leaves us with 16 trucks on the lead lap. Dale Elam Jr. in the 6th, a very damaged 6th, the last truck being scored on the lead lap.
And Jones was able to stay in the 20th position that he had held previous. Now is about 4 seconds behind this battle between Anthony Reynolds and Eric Holly. These two battling for the 18th position, and this is about where Holly and Reynolds have been all day long, like right around the mid-teens, and now they're battling with each other alone at the moment.
If you take a look at the lap times between Justin Winters, who's leading this thing in fresh air, and Ryan Jones, who has some of the freshest tires on track right now, you're talking about a second, about a half a second is about all the difference, as Jones trying to make some headway, not having a good time of it right now.
Brandon Ayers in the 16 has gone into pit road. Justin Winters now starting to create a little bit of a gap. He's got about a 0.6 of a second gap between himself, Randy Bechtel, and Evan Pienta right now, as those two now get back into single file racing. Chandler Summers drops down into pit road, so at least for the back end of the lead lap cars, this appears to be the start of what would be the final pit stop here tonight. These guys will all be using their final set of tires right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this thing is, we've stayed green for so long. The question is, of your top 10, who's going to be the first one to blink? You know, these guys have been in lockstep all night long, but right now, Justin Winters just legging it out, especially this late in the run, 40 laps on the tires, as he's about 10 truck lengths to the good over Evan Pienta, who's battling hard with Randy Bechtel for second place.
Just as you say, who in the top 5 is going to be the first one to blink? Evan Pienta has a connection spike and blinks out as Randy Bechtel comes into pit road. The one of Chase Barry follows. Chris Smith following in as well in the 81. So these guys looking to get the undercut that they've been bitten by over the course of these last couple of races.
Yeah, and all three of them doing a great job, especially considering the pit road speed limit here at Vegas is only 50 miles an hour, and these guys are hauling it off into turn number 3 at 180. So that's definitely going to feel like you can get out and walk faster at most points, as Bechtel, first one to hit his pit stall, as the 81 down and away.
Yep, Winters in pit road. Pienta, Callaway, Dudley, Thomas, Cannon all come down pit road, and Chris Smith, the first one out of pit road, took 2 tires, only a 10.8 second stop for the 81 as compared to Bechtel, who had hit 15 seconds on his pit stop. Jeff Price from the race lead will now come in, and Stephen Holmes and Jeff Pogo now running line astern. That is your new first and second. Dale Elam Jr. coming through turns 1 and 2 right now. He, in just a moment, will be scored in the 3rd position.
Robert Dudley down and away, but the thing is, you've got to keep your eye on the 81 of Smith, as he only took 2, and we saw what that did to the 20 of LaFaro. Definitely struggling, as right now Bechtel has heavy traffic in front of him.
Yep, that's the 52 and the 00, the two guys he was racing. So those guys coming in and immediately covering off that 51 did exactly what they needed it to do, was stop him from taking the race lead. It's not going to stop him from taking second, though. Both Holmes and Pogo are in pit road. This is a battle right now on track, as boy, Winters had a huge moment there through 1 and 2. That will give Evan Pienta the effective race lead, and it holds up Randy Bechtel enough to where Chris Smith can get to his outside, but Smith going to fall away.
All important bonus point possible for Evan Pienta as Dale Eland Jr. stayed out, as pit stops coming hard and heavy right now. Eland still has to make his money stop. Anthony Reynolds still has to make his money stop. So effective race lead is going to go to Evan Pienta. The question is, can he hang on to it long enough to get the bonus point, as Eland and Reynolds look like they might be. Reynolds might be able to make it. As that answers that question.
Reynolds came in on lap 101, so Reynolds has made his final pit stop already. Evan Pienta now has pulled out to a 0.6 of a second gap on those new tires over Randy Bechtel and now Justin Winters, as he and Chris Smith start battling through 3 and 4. 52 says, yep, I'm not waiting. We're going 3 wide. 52 takes over that position. Dale Eland Jr. still out on the racetrack right now, but Pienta and Bechtel right now 0.4 of a second separating those two. Bechtel trying to hustle that car back up to the 00.
The thing is, does Dale Eland Jr. have enough fuel to make it from here? The answer is highly doubtful, as the 81 of Smith looks to the inside of Winters, thinks better of it, almost made it 3 wide going into 3. But right now, there it goes. Evan Pienta, your new race leader.
Yeah, Pienta goes to the race lead as Dale Eland Jr. comes down pit road in the number 6. And now the battle for second position going with Bechtel and Winters. Chris Smith there as well. I think Chris Smith took 4 tires, just needed to take less fuel, which is why he had the quicker pit stop, because otherwise he would be down and out by now. It's a big move down to the apron there for the 52 of Justin Winters. That will give him the second position. So Justin Winters battling right back. Remember, he came out of this pit cycle with the race lead, trying to recover it here as the top 4 on your screen.
Absolutely. Winters did not have a good moment on cold tires as he was battling with Pienta and Bechtel. Gets to the inside of Bechtel coming off of 4, nose out front. Now Winters has already clinched most laps led tonight. So that's a bonus point that Randy Bechtel's not going to be able to see right now. He and Evan Pienta have the same amount of bonus points, both being given a 0.4 leading lap, but Bechtel has that extra one for getting the pole.
And it's the gap between first and second in the point standings. It's not 40, 39, 38. It's 75 points for the race winner, 70 for who finishes in second. So a pretty decent points gap between the drivers that finish first and second, as Randy Bechtel still battling but cannot get past Justin Winters, as we're still looking for 6 unique winners here at the start of this season. Pienta would be the 6th unique winner. Winters would be as well. Chris Smith starting to fall off the back of this group a little bit. Chase Barry, who remember came into pit with both the 51 and the 81, with a lot of right side damage on that number 1 machine, starting to fall back. Just lost the position to Robert Dudley. Barry down to 9th.
Absolutely. Is Pienta doing what he can to try to cover off Justin Winters? Winters was using that low line. Pienta cut him off, and they get around the lap truck with effectiveness, able to maintain the lead, as Winters still looking to the inside, and Pienta driving as much out of the rearview mirror as he's out of the front. as they come up on the 25 to put him another lap down.
52 is going to take that outside lane, or at least try to take that outside lane, looking for the race lead. Look at how close he gets before he finally jumps out. Tries to use that side draft around the outside of Evan Pienta. Look down to the bottom. Does Pienta come out of the screen? No, he does not. There's still side-by-side contact between the 52 and 00 for the race lead. Winters leads the lap. Pienta still on the bottom.
Winters with a nose out front as they haul it off into turn number 1. Pienta full send it mode. He's got Bechtel in his rearview mirror. Randy Bechtel has the advantage right now as he's trying to figure out where these two aren't going to go, who he wants to go with to try to get around the other one. Is they're still in lockstep. Winters on the high side, Pienta on the inside.
We saw this at the beginning of the race. The 51 able to hold his ground on the inside line while Jeff Pogo tried to pass him on the outside. Sure, Pogo led a lap here and there, but the inside line, at that time it was Bechtel, was able to reign supreme, and it's looking like the same scenario here as Pienta just not letting Justin Winters go. He might lose him here, though. Going down into the corner, he's going to gain some of that ground back, but with the run off, it could be Winters' position to lose.
Last time by, 1/1000th of a second at the stripe. This time, 3 1,000ths to Justin Winters.
It's just about as close as you can get, and we've only got 8 laps to go around this racetrack, about to complete round number 6 of this season, as Pienta still, he's about the same distance back, and you can see damage on the left rear corner of the 52, also on the right front of Evan Pienta from where they made contact a couple of laps ago, as still trying to work that side draft are both of those trucks, and Randy Bechtel behind them is getting impatient.
Absolutely, as you saw Bechtel go down onto the apron as Pienta tries to keep it wound up on the inside, just full send it mode going into 1. Drag race down the Nellis backstretch, still in lockstep. Pienta on the low side, Winters on the high side. Winters trying to will the win away. Again, it's going to be our we've had a different winner every week.
We absolutely have, as Bechtel looking to become the first repeat winner of the USRA Season 6. But look who's starting to storm up to the front here. That's Jeff Price in the 14. Look at the run he gets on the outside line. He gets to the corner of Randy Bechtel. Pienta now comes off of that inside line. Pienta in the middle of 3 wide as the 52 of Winters takes the lead, coming to 5 laps to go.
Pienta had a little bit of a connection issue, had to back out of it as Bechtel, Pienta, and Price slugging it out for the last 2 steps on the podium, as right now Winters with a 3-truck length gap to second place, Randy Bechtel.
Price came from nowhere as Smith was about 2 seconds ahead of him. Price is now right in this mix here, could end up at least in 3rd as Winters leads by 0.3 of a second. Boy, a big couple of swings there from the 00 of Pienta trying to block the 14, and a little bit of a shunt down the tri-oval. Contact there as Pienta saves the car. Jeff Price gets through into 3rd, and I would have to think that has a little bit to do with the 2 big swipes coming out of turn 4 that Pienta took.
Yeah, absolutely. Pienta may have gone too hard too soon just to try to get that bonus point on the fresh tires as Price laid the chrome horn to him going into 1. Great driving job by Evan Pienta to save that truck as we are 3 laps to go as Randy Bechtel stalking the 52 of Justin Winters right now, trying to reel him in, trying to become the first repeat winner of the season.
Yeah, Bechtel trying to make that feat. And I believe Justin Winters, this will be his first win of this season. I believe this will be his first win, if I remember correctly, with us broadcasting here. So it took about a season and a half, or a season and a quarter rather, but it looks like Winters has the chance to get into victory lane. 2 laps to go.
Popsicle sticks in the air. Winters still able to maintain that gap 3 truck lengths to the good over Randy Bechtel. They come up on the lap truck. That's the very wounded 25 again as they work their way through the 3-4 complex. Winter's going to take the white flag. Bechtel's going to have 1.5 miles to get it done.
They get around the lap car of Scott Tompkins with very little issue as Winters trying to maintain that inside line and maintain the 2/10 gap that he has over Randy Bechtel coming out of turn number 2. Really nothing Randy Bechtel can do at this point. He's going to have to make a hellacious dive, but it is not going to matter. Both trucks clipping the apron. Bechtel gets thrown up the racetrack. Off of turn number 4, Justin Winters will win round number 6 here at Las Vegas. His first win of the year. And for Winters, one heck of a points recovery after missing, I believe it was Milwaukee.
Wow, Jeff Price just took a ride at the end. The one of Chase Berry coming down and just plastered him.
Boy, and you saw there a little bit of contact between the 00 and the 14. But for Justin Winters, I mean, that right there, what a finish for that number 52. What a win. As Winters now will burn it down. In celebration of his first win, and what a night it was. A tale of two halves. It was Bechtel's race to lose the first half of the night. Second half of the night, it was all Justin Winters.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great job for Justin Winters tonight. Able to, really make it happen. Most laps led. Fastest lap of the race as well. So that 52 was just, I mean, he didn't get the qualifying attempt that he was hoping for. Only started in 4th place, but made the changes in between the qualifying and the race session, tuned on that truck all night long, and made it happen. But how about the 14 of Jeff Price? Started 27th and put it on the podium.
Did a fantastic job there. As we're waiting on our race winner here to get on in for his interview, here we go. We've got him now. Tony, you are with our race winner. We do apologize for that stream crash there. Unfortunately, I mean, perfect timing. It was after the race. But right now we will go back to our post-race interview. Tony, you have Justin Winters with you now.
Justin Winters, most laps led, fastest lap of the race, strongest truck all night long. Congratulations on the victory here at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Talk us through how difficult it was to pick your way through traffic. Now, we saw you start 4th, but not have the initial start that you were hoping for. How difficult was it on the low side tonight?
Yeah, it was a lot of the competitors were really close in speed, so it was hard. You had to make sure you hold your line, not get into people. You didn't want to get into people early to affect the outcome of the race later. It was difficult. The bottom lane, I didn't think would actually prevail, but actually got a rhythm about quarter way through the race, and the bottom lane was where to be.
Talk us through that moment right after you put the last set of Mr. Feelgoods on the truck. You had to chase it down the track coming off a 2 in heavy traffic with Pienta and Bechtel right there with you.
Yeah, she got a little bit loose. Thank goodness for the save. If I wouldn't have saved that, the race would have probably been over there. But I was able to save it, collect my focus back, and I was able to run them down. I knew I had to get by them pretty quick because clean air in these trucks makes a big difference on the way that truck turns.
Absolutely, and it looked like you were able to really leg it out once you got the nose into some clean air. how big was the tire wear here tonight? Now, we were noticing that maybe a half second between the guys that were putting on fresh tires and the guys that had about 20 to 30 laps on their tires. Just how bad was the tire wear tonight?
It wasn't too bad. Like you said, it was about a half second, 3/4 of a second off. But the truck would still turn, so it wasn't. If you knew how to play with the throttle a little bit, you could still almost the whole run go probably 3/4 force throttle around the whole track.
All right. Well, we go from the D-shaped demon in the desert that is Las Vegas to one of the most historic dirt oval tracks in the country, and that, of course, is the Eldora Motor Speedway next week for the Mud Summer Nights Dream. Your thoughts going to the dirt next week?
It will be very exciting. That's probably about all. I'm not really a good dirt racer, so hopefully I can get some practice in before we go there and maybe surprise myself. But it'll be a good experience. It's always a pleasure racing with these guys.
Now, Frank and I were talking that this week the official series in iRacing, the C Fixed, is going to Knoxville. Any chance you're going to be using that to try to get a tune-up to hone your dirt racing skills?
Absolutely, I'm gonna do the best I can to learn as much as I can about these trucks on dirt. Like I said, I'm not a very good dirt racer, so I may surprise myself. I may not, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens.
Get with me after the event. Don't go anywhere because we'll talk.
Absolutely.
Justin, again, congratulations on your first victory of the season. And as Frank mentioned just before you took the checkered flag, it took us a season and a half to get you on the station to show you getting a win. So congratulations on getting your first win here on ESPN and your first win of the season here in the United Sim Racing Association TNT Truck Series, brought to you by TickleZombie.com.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Allen's Body Shop for being on the truck, Huffman Designs for designing it, Old School Diecast in Evansville, Indiana. Check Deb out on the internet. She's got all your diecast. Got to thank TNT's Tickle Zombie for putting on the series. Jeff and Eric couldn't do it without them. Um, and Boots Manufacturing. And thank you guys for putting on a great broadcast each and every week.
Justin, congratulations again on the win. We'll see you next week at Eldora.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that was your race winner, Justin Winters. We now go to our second place finisher here tonight, Randy Bechtel. And Randy, you had a very good start to this race. Like we said, it was a tale of two halves. You had the first half. Justin Winters had the second half. How much time did you need to try to get around him that final time?
I'm not sure if there was an amount of time at all. Once you got somebody that long in to run behind them, you had to hope they hit the apron, get loose, or hit the wall pretty much. Really couldn't get a run on them. But yeah, I'm kind of glad those two didn't wreck in front of me there, Evan and Justin. That was a fun race to watch.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a little bit helpful, definitely. What was it like driving these things here tonight? We saw the inside line at the beginning of the run, looked like it was the dominant line. Then the line looked like it went high, and then you still had the advantage down low. How difficult was it to pinpoint where you could and couldn't run these trucks tonight?
I'm surprised the line I was running there when Pogo was above me. That I don't even know how many laps we ran side by side. I'm surprised it kept that good on the bottom. So I figured it would be stay like that the whole time. Then clearly the second half of the race, the outside lane came and those guys got some good runs to get by me. I'm not sure where it would have been there at the end. I think it's just wherever somebody else wasn't for that fresh air.
Well, the goal for next week is certainly going to be where everybody else isn't as we head to the dirt track at Eldora. What is your confidence level going into Eldora next week, and do you think you have a shot at it?
I'm pretty good on dirt, although actual dirt cars, I haven't really ran a NASCAR on dirt per se, but done some practice. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'm assuming it's going to be a caution fest, but people proved me wrong before.
All right. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a second place finish here tonight?
My teammate Chase Berry, he's running good, so I'm not quite sure what happened here with him in the 14. Apparently 14 him in the wall. I have to go back and look at the replay, but sucks for him having a good run. Something happened at the end. Ryan Jones, teammate, he got off some weird strategy. Our spotter Justin Wilson. Eric and Pogo are putting on the league, and of course you two for broadcasting.
All right. There is your second place finisher here tonight. Randy Bechtel, bud, congratulations.
Thank you.
So there was Randy Bechtel, your second place finisher. And now Tony will be in with our third place finisher tonight, Jeff Price.
How's it going, guys?
Biggest mover of the night, number 14, Jeff Price. Congratulations on the podium, sir. Hard-fought finish, coming all the way from the tail end of the field.
Yes, sir, absolutely. First and foremost, the one guy in this race I am the most sorry about is Evan. He did not deserve that. The entire night I was on the top. I thought I could hold it in, like get it to turn down, and I couldn't. And when I realized it, I got off the gas and hit him. You know, if I was other guys that I've seen in this league, I would have just plowed driving and just drove him straight into the wall. I would never do that to Evan. Utmost respect for that guy. So I really want to say I apologize to him, and I owe him one, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, I had a blast today's race. Like, I love this league. I love most of the guys in this league who are extremely respectful. And other than that, like, this thing was on rails. I've never been able to make the high line work here, and tonight I made it work.
Well, Jeff, again, you were battling all night long, trying to make some headway. Talk us through the biggest difference between running the second lane and running that inside line. How bad did it really hurt to try to pinch the truck off on the inside?
It was bad. I thought I was saving tires through the first real long run we had. I was lifting, turning into the corner, and just trying to keep it on the bottom, not even really pushing. I didn't think I was sliding the right front at all. Then we hit the first round of pit stops, and there was like a 15% difference. And I'm just like, yeah, that's not right. So the rest of the race, I moved up, and on that first really long run I had on the tires, it was like 5% difference. And it was a huge difference if you could keep the right front. The higher you ran, I felt like the better it kept the right front on. And later in the runs, you could just get it to turn down, and it was nice. Like, I was right before the last pit stop, I was able to just cut the corners off, enter high, get the momentum, turn down, and I just gained truck lengths on the guys ahead of me, and that was important. And I felt like I had enough tire left to extend it another 3 or 4 laps, and I came out around 9th, drove back up to 4th before the incident happened, and then I just let off and I was just going to let them do the race and feel like the third's where I belonged.
Well, you talk about sliding the tires. Next week, you're definitely going to be sliding the tires as the series moves to the most historic dirt track in the country, Eldora Speedway. Your thoughts going to the dirt?
It's going to go either really good or really bad for me. I've had a lot of good times on dirt, sometimes a lot of bad times. This is a lot of fun. I think these guys will put on a great show. Just to even finish top 5 there, I think will be a huge win for anybody to finish top 5 in this league on dirt. I really think it's going to be a lot of fun, and everybody should definitely tune in and watch that, because I know I'll be completely rewatching every lap after the race of that one, because I know it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, absolutely. As Eldora usually, it's one of those tracks where you're definitely going to have to hang a new body after the race is over. But Jeff, before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank?
Most and foremost, Back Productions. We are in our little renewal period. We don't think we're going to make it work for the next season. So I really want to say I appreciate Back Channel Productions for staying on board with me for the last year and a half. It's been a really great partnership. I think it's they've done all they can in iRacing. I think he's going a different direction. So other than that, I have some big things coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, Tickle Pickle for sponsoring the league, all the league admins for the great job they do, and hopefully we'll be back talking with y'all next week.
All right, Jeff, again, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week at Eldora.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a great one.
So there was your third place finisher, Jeff Price. And typically as broadcasters, we tend to jump to conclusions a little bit. We go off of what we see and the trends and what kind of happened in between two events. And we saw a tight battle between Price and Pienta. Pienta made a couple of pretty quick and aggressive blocks coming off of turn 4. Coming through the tri-oval, there was a big bump, and then there was a bump that ended up turning Pienta around going through turn 1, and naturally anyone would make that a connection as well. You block me twice, I'm going to bump you, and then maybe move you out of the way. And from what we just heard from Price, it was completely unintentional, which, we would expect out of both Price and Pienta. It's all fair play, and unfortunately, Pienta is the one that falls back.
Well, the thing is, too, I mean, you're in the closing laps of the race. You're battling for the final step of the podium. It's kind of it's a racing deal. I mean, I understand Jeff feels bad about doing that because, Evan's one of the good guys in the league that, wouldn't say poo if he had a mouthful of it. But, I can understand. That was just one of those hard racing deals. Pienta had the spot, didn't want to give it up, and Price was right there, had a run. It was just a block gone wrong, in my opinion. I went back and looked at what happened, though, between Price and Barry, and that was another one of those just hard racing deals. Neither one wanted to really give, and Barry came out on the losing end, and we saw after the checkered flag, Barry took his frustrations out on Jeff Price and just completely wadded that podium finishing truck.
Yeah, so tensions running high and emotions running high after tonight's race, and going into Eldora next week, it is going to be another wild night as we get a chance for the first time to see this series on dirt. And Tony, since I had my complete and total crash out, I think it's up to you for the final results here tonight.
Well, Justin Winters coming home with the victory. Most laps led, fastest lap of the race. Dominant truck all night long here at Vegas. Randy Bechtel going to be getting second place after setting quick time in qualifying. Jeff Price, biggest mover after starting 27th, comes home in third. Chris Smith coming home in fourth. Evan Pienta able to rebound for fifth after that near disastrous bump and run. Zach Calloway in sixth. Stephen Holmes in seventh. Robert Dudley eighth. Jeff Pogo in ninth. Ellis Thomas rounding out your top 10. Chandler Summers 11th. Anthony Reynolds, Scott Stotler, Ryan Jones, Tommy Cannon, your top 15. Eric Holly, Luke LaFaro, after that disastrous two-stop run, coming home in 17th. Brandon Ayers in 18th. Last truck being scored on the lead lap. Chase Berry, first truck, one lap down in 19th. Larry Poling rounding out your top 20. Dale Ealing Jr. in 21st. Scotty Tompkins, 22nd. Jason Ayerson in 23rd. Mike Mraz, 24th. Johnny Rapp, 25th. Dan Dill, 26th. Jamie Leach, 27th. Jordan Smith, 28th. 29th goes to Justin Lamb. Mike March in 30th. Nicholas Lamb in 31st. And Lee Norton rounding out the field in 32nd.
So that is your final results here. Thank you very much for that, Tony. So a couple of nights off here for us on ESPN. Coming up on Sunday will be the Medieval Racing League. They will be at the Darlington Raceway this Sunday night. I believe it is going to be Sam Cooper Bennett and Byron Rodney in the booth for that. First time we had seen or heard from Byron in a little bit over a month. Last Tuesday night in the Western States Racing League. He should be back in the booth on Sunday night for Medieval. Coming up on Monday will be the 20th round of the season for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Next Gen Cup cars. Coming up on Tuesday will be a Tuesday doubleheader. The UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series will be at Summit Point this upcoming Tuesday. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League at Texas Motor Speedway for round number 2 of their season after a fantastic race to open up the year. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you all next week from Eldora and on Sunday night for the Medieval Racing League at Darlington. Good night, everybody.